What? Everyone's dressed up. I love it.
What did you love?
Everyone is so dressed up. I love it.
Yeah, we all have the like collar going.
Yeah. Well, you both look like you're like on a beach. I'm looking like a 5-year-old at like a wedding for the first time. I'm not gonna lie.
First communion.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm like I'm the little flower boy, or I have the ring now. I'm wearing khaki shorts,
Yeah.
which is going with the joke as well. But how are you guys? It's been forever.
Yeah.
We're good.
Sweaty.
We're sweaty.
I'm
Sweaty. Where are you guys at right now?
We're at my parents' house in Naperville.
Which is like an hour west of the city.
Yeah, I've been to Naperville. But you guys been doing good, staying healthy otherwise?
Yeah. Leah's been playing Animal Crossing. That's
all I do.
Christ. Okay, I'm gonna cut the brakes. I don't get the hype.
What? Oh, no way.
Maybe because I am the old man here, but like I don't get the hype around Animal Crossing at all. Why should I play it?
So I think what's really appealing to people right now is that we're all stuck inside, and in Animal Crossing, you're like low-key the god of an island. So, like, you're constantly outside, you're constantly, like, interacting with absolutely adorable, like, little animals, you know? So I think it's just, like, helping people, like, feel more connected to anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they can talk to cute animals and have cute animals be like, hey, here's this colorful sweater, it made me think of you, you know? Like,
and then pick out some uggos and...
Oh, yeah, I don't let uglies on my island. If they're too ugly, I don't want them.
Is there a thing as ugly animals?
Yeah. Some of them are horrifying to look at, really. Just to name a few so that people can look them up. Barreled is extremely ugly. Cashmere the sheep is really ugly.
Well, your name is Cashmere the sheep. That's ugly enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then everybody's going crazy over this cat called Raymond, who's this animal villager he's the only animal that has 2 different colored eyes. So I think that's part of the appeal. But people are selling him online for real money.
Oh.
So, like, you can pay somebody like $20, $50, you know, and they'll let you have this cat. He is a twink. He's a little bit of a twink.
Okay.
With a name like Raymond.
Yeah.
I'm maybe only 22, but I feel 80 every time someone talks about. I was on a Zoom call last week with some friends, and they just started talking Animal Crossing for 45 minutes, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm reading Tom Sawyer all of a sudden because I'm just so bored of what's happening. It's like Tiger King. I never watched Tiger King, but apparently I'm missing out.
You really are.
Missing out. I think you can go without. I personally think you can go without Animal Crossing, but I don't think you can go without Tiger King.
No way.
So
I think it is our cultural landscape now.
It really is.
I think so. So what's the question? What's her name? Carol Kang? Is that the girl who?
Carol Baskin.
Baskin. Sorry. Did she murder her husband?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh.
Yes, she did.
I smell a debate. I think you guys should get some ties on and let's get going here.
Do you want to start?
I mean, I just think she did it. She seems like she did it. And everything's fishy, and she seems like maybe a pathological liar.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Isn't?
I mean, I just think that...
That's true.
I mean, I just think that, like, it was kind of the wrong thing that we focused on for Tiger King. That a lot of people focused on that instead of, like, you know, the fact that people just have tigers and they should not have tigers.
Yeah.
You know, like the welfare of the animals was not really like the biggest part of the documentary, which it probably should have been.
Yeah. Well, as the owner of 3 tigers in my backyard, I could disagree. No, they are stuffed, and I got them from Build-A-Bear. Anyways, so we are officially college graduates. How are you? I know, yes, hell yeah. How are you guys feeling? It was a really weird turn of events even when we were in this pandemic, and even in that last week. Did you guys even feel anything? No.
My last class got canceled, so
Why?
like, I don't know. He just had like a headache, and he was like, "All right, no class." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm done."
That's so Columbia.
Yeah, right.
We tried to do like a little thing to celebrate. Like we had,
We had some cake.
some cake. That was it, basically.
But yeah, I feel nothing. I think I felt like, yay,
Yeah.
I did it for like 5 minutes, and then I think I went to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think after my last class ended, I had directing class with John Green. And after that ended, I called my parents because I was just sitting there and I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? Like,
Yeah.
am I supposed to, like, I don't know, like, throw a hat in the air? Like, I never got a cap or gown, neither did Scott. So
Now
we just had nothing to do.
Yeah, it's a weird turn of events right now because we could celebrate, but what is there? But Columbia has a celebration for us next year. Do you?
Is anyone gonna do that?
I was gonna ask. Do you plan on going to that?
I feel like we've talked about this. I feel like I would only go, especially in the theater department, if all of the theater seniors rallied and we were all like, okay, like we're gonna get together one last time and like do this together.
Yeah.
But I'm not just gonna like spend, whatever it was, $175 just to like, I don't know, just to go and not be with my friends because nobody else would go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and since we'll be in Chicago, then we have the ability to weigh the options and like see how everyone else is feeling. If everyone else is like, hell yeah, we'll jump on. But we'll jump the bandwagon if we see that there is one. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't even feel like there's a bandwagon going on right now at all. It just feels like, okay, great, sayonara. But
yeah.
It's weird. I almost wish they would have a plan B in case something changes. Like, let's do it. Like, I always think, do it Labor Day weekend as a great transition for the fall semester. But I don't even think that crossed their minds at all, which is just, it's sad, I think. It's really disappointing.
Yeah. I wonder if part of it's like, it's easier to rent out the space that they rent out for it. Like
True.
For one weekend than, one time in the fall and one time. Because like what's the auditorium theater, which is like probably a very expensive space to rent out.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous theater, so.
Yeah. And it's not like art school has the money, so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Columbia, and like we joked about this all the time when like the student center was first being built, because I don't know anybody who was like, fuck yeah, student center. And it's not about us not having money. It's that like the college has money. They just don't spend it in the right areas at all.
Yeah. Although I will say that student center is pretty nice.
It's so nice. And that's like the most tragic part.
Absolutely. Like we're complaining about this, but it happened and I sat there for an hour. I was like, ooh, okay. Maybe this is not bad at all. Oh well.
Yeah.
Leo, so you had a show going on during this before everything got shut down.
Yes.
How did you address your cast and crew saying, this is it?
So Columbia had just like horrible communication about all this. I'm sure we can all agree. It was very much like, I mean, everything was changing by the day, obviously, but I felt like their emails still weren't, I don't know, there was just something lacking in communication. So I was actually the one that had to break the news to the cast based on information I had heard that after the 3-week break, we weren't coming back. And I knew that because I had heard that from other like reputable teacher sources.
Before the school
even like told all of us. So yeah, I mean, I just pretty much told them like, so sorry the show is canceled, but, you know, I was sort of able to, like, I don't know, just sort of, like, think outside myself and think outside of the production, and, like, if canceling it meant that, you know, we were potentially saving, like, you know, X amount of people from getting sick, like, I would cancel it 1,000 times, you know, like, this shit is serious, and it's serious for people our age. And, you know, I was really happy that Urinetown got to have that one last, like, final hurrah performance, but I can't say that there wasn't a part of me that was like, we were just told we had to leave because if we gather in big groups, people are going to get sick. And there's like over 150 people sitting in this room right now, like all packed close together. And like, you know, hopefully nobody got sick from that. I mean, I think we would have heard by now if they did, but you know, that was still scary for me. That's part of the reason why I didn't go see Urinetown, because, you know, I didn't want to risk that for me, for Scott, for his parents. But yeah, I mean, it was difficult.
Yeah, how far along the process you guys were when the shutdown happened?
We were 2 weeks away from opening night.
And so
that was really, I mean, we were done. We were finished with the show. Like, we were totally ready to go. But yeah.
Are there plans to maybe do it in the summer, in the fall?
I've addressed the summer thing with the cast. I think once Broadway announced that they weren't going to open up in September or whatever, that I just realized that it wouldn't really be safe, you know, or like, I just felt like it'd be selfish for me to be like, okay, guys, like, let's all come together in the summer to like do this one thing, and like we're all gonna risk our health to do it. So there has actually been some conversations about doing a reading at the beginning of the year in September. So we're sort of talking about that as a cast, and, you know, if that's something we would want to do. It's like a very like minimal tech type thing, which is kind of a bummer, but you know, if we want to get together to do it one last time, then we should fucking do it, you know, no matter like what iteration it's in. But no, we're not going to be able to do a full production, unfortunately.
And like you said, you're a graduate. How do you feel knowing that your final project was it? Does it hurt, or do you think it was for the best and the right intentions to shut it down?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think when it first got shut down, it was really difficult, and you know, I definitely had like nights where I was just like, what the fuck? Like, why couldn't we have like figured out some way to just do it without an audience, and, you know, we live stream it. But there just really wasn't, I don't know, there wasn't like any, I guess, like any infrastructure to be able to do something like that at the time. We were all just so focused on like getting everybody the hell out of campus. So yeah, I mean, it definitely sucks, and it stings a lot, but I don't know, I feel like I've had enough time to sort of process, and like, obviously it's for the better. So I'm a lot less like bitter about it now than I was. But yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of how far we got, and we had like an amazing cast and like an awesome design team, and our SM team was great, and we had a band that was awesome, and you know, I mean, I think we all still like got something out of the experience. And like, as a director, that's always sort of the thing that I'm like constantly telling my actors, like, I don't really care what happens at the end of all this, but like, as long as we've like learned some like, you know, good skills that will take us into our next projects, like, that's really the only thing that matters. So I have to practice what I preach with that.
Amen. So you are a director, like you said, do you, as a artsy fartsy question, did you like directing on your own, or did you like having a faculty or another collaborator directing a project with you?
I mean, I directed plays. Obviously, Burns was kind of a quasi-musical thing, and then I assistant directed, obviously, Rosencrantz with you in the cast, and assistant directed A Man of No Importance, which was the musical. And I think, I mean, plays will always be like where my heart is, and doing it on your own like seems really like, oh yeah, like I'm just like scrappy and I'm going it alone, like obviously with the team. But, you know, I think there's also something really special about, you know, working on a musical or like in a bigger production where, you know, there are so many people that like want the same thing as you, and so many times where I could just turn to my music director Lev during Mr.Burmns and just be like, hey, what the fuck do you think about this? And he could just tell me. Whereas, you know, when I was directing Drive, it was very much like, oh my God, is this even a good show? Like, I don't have anybody to talk to. So I was just sitting there like, this could be awful and I would never know.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's nice to have that validation with like a bigger group of collaborators.
For sure. I was thinking about this because leading up to today, I think your first few years at Columbia, I auditioned for almost every show you were in. Like, I'm not even trying to like sugarcoat. Like,
Yeah.
your quad, I think Drive, and then you did like a senior showcase for someone's play. I'm blanking on the title.
Yeah, I directed Homespun.
Yes.
That was the Playwright Senior Showcase.
Yeah.
It was like our sophomore year. I directed it.
Yeah.
Or you got into Les Majestic instead.
Oh, I forgot because Scott's in the room. Scott was the stage manager for that play. Either way, it was a win-win either way. And then we did Rosencrantz, and then finally we did a sex play together that you wrote, and loved. And I think I still have that play that I read from time to time. I think you should make that a full-length play. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, it was very, very fun to write. I think I expanded it to like 20 minutes now, so it's a little bit longer than it used to be. You know, Charles the Horse Cock King is riding, you know, strong still, and
I think he's related to Tiger King.
Yes.
Did you write Tiger King before Tiger King?
I wish, God.
Oh my God. And Scott, you are a playwright. You were a playwriting major, correct?
Mm-hmm. Double major with playwriting and poetry.
Oh, I forgot you're talented. I'm kidding. Have you written any plays during this pandemic?
Yeah, so it's been like kind of difficult, especially because I think, you know, plays are usually written stretching from reality, and we don't really know what reality is right now. But I'm like writing a play where kind of, you know how like everything we do now is to have more life, you know, like even like kind of wanting, you know, like wanting there to be an afterlife is like a way to have more life beyond death. And so I'm trying to write a play that's like where instead of life being the valued existence, death is the valued existence. So like everyone is just kind of living to have a peaceful death. And they don't really care about like life itself. So yeah, that's a really like lofty, weird explanation for it. But yeah, it's like a weird play and a weird time to be writing.
Yeah. For both of you, do you think it's weird to be creative right now or maintain this creativity for especially how long we've been in this shutdown?
Yeah, I just don't think, this might be an unpopular opinion, or maybe it's not, but at least for me, being creative right now isn't really important. I think the most important thing is just staying safe and staying healthy, like mentally, as well as physically. So I'm not even thinking, I mean, I've like been reading some musical librettos, but I'm trying not to think too far into the future because, you know, we don't know what that holds. And I just don't think, like, for me personally, like writing, directing, it's just not it, you know. I'm just trying to like make sure that like me and mine are like doing okay. So it's not really a thing that I think about a lot. But you have been being creative.
Yeah, I have. I think like, you know, it's also hard because you know that everyone is going to be writing and thinking about the same, like relatively the same things right now. And like, you know, I'm sure there are many literary journals and like, you know, different like publishers that are getting so many submissions about quarantine and about like coronavirus and things like that. And I'm sure they're sick of reading about it because no one really knows anything and everyone's trying to figure stuff out when there's not really anything to figure out. So yeah, but I just like, you know, I'm dealing with how I need deal with it, I think, is by writing a play with a lot of death in it. So, you know. Yeah.
I like how you talk about death in the most casual way possible.
Yeah, I mean, it terrifies me, so I think that's like a mechanism, you know, to like talk about it casually, and then it doesn't mean as much.
I'm glad you're aware. So we're about to enter phase 3 of Pritzker's five-phase program to reopening the country. We're just days away now from going into this third phase. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think it's a little too soon, too early, or we just have to wait and see?
I'm sorry, when did we enter phase 2?
When we entered phase 2 I think May 1st, because that's when golf courses are.
Right, like golf courses and like garden stores. That was okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's too early.
Yeah, it's probably too
We
early.
should still be in phase 1. I honestly was always a proponent of just having a full like Italy style lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw with New Zealand, you know, they had a very intense lockdown for 49 days and effectively completely, you know, eliminated coronavirus in their country.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not realistic for the United States. I get it. We're not an island. We're not a small country. But I was never in favor of this wishy-washy, like, you know, maybe we'll have some regulations for like, you know, and like we'll just be living in a state of limbo for like years until a vaccine comes out. So I don't know. I think it's too early. I think everything's too early.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is like they're thinking about serving the economy first, and like the economy should support the people. Like the economy is nothing; it doesn't mean anything except
we give it meaning.
Yeah, except for how it serves people, and the way that they're doing things right now, it's almost as if it's a god unto itself that needs to be served and needs to be fed, and.
Well, it feels like it's paying respect to like the angry protesters. And Pritzker's like, I don't want to deal with this. You want to, and it's a shame. And I also understand. You're right. I would love to see what Illinois looks like in an Italy style lockdown. It probably would never work.
Right. I mean, at least Chicago. I mean, I really hope that Mayor Lightfoot is going to, you know, keep Chicago on more of a lockdown, because obviously trying to lock down, what is it? It's like the 3rd most populous city in America, or the 4th, versus, you know, Southern Illinois, where like, you know, there's almost no cases, or obviously, you know, the testing isn't great. So there's probably a lot of cases we just don't know about, but it's a completely different beast. So it shouldn't be treated the same way. Like I do think Chicago, you know, should be following its own, you know, measures.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Right.
And that's the problem. We can be talking about, it's too early, but if it's too soon or it's just right, he's going to get shit on no matter what. And it's the ultimate problem when you want to be a governor for your own state.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine it's probably, I mean, he's, you know, part of probably the richest family in Illinois. You know, he's a member of that like huge conglomerate of Pritzkers, and so I imagine it's really difficult for him to like have sympathy for essential workers and people who are living paycheck to paycheck, because he just never had to do it. So you know, and I think that's why everyone wanted him to put, was it like a freeze on rent? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
So like, but for him that doesn't matter, because I'm sure he's always been able to pay for whatever living situation he's had.
Mm-hmm. You know, I had some family members over the weekend, and it was the most bizarre situation ever because they had the masks on for half the time, and they had to keep 6 feet away. And I'm thinking to myself, my dear God, this is the new normal for the foreseeable future. Like I had to keep my mask just underneath my chin because I didn't know, you know, they're both over 60, and I didn't know if I needed to have it on or not, because then they didn't make any notes about it or say, can you wear a mask? Are you ready for this new normal or not?
Well, we are actually moving into a new apartment in Uptown in 3 weeks. So our next 3 weeks is going to just be like planning specifically, how do we like keep ourselves safe? And so, talking about like how many times can we go to the grocery store per week when we come back? Are we, taking off all our clothes, like jumping in the shower, washing everything, like bleaching everything? And I would rather err on the side of extreme caution because, when you're living with roommates, I mean, obviously, like, it's just the two of us, but, if one of us gets sick, the other one gets sick.
Yeah.
And there's no avoiding that. And so I can't have that on my conscience. So I'm prepared to be, extremely, extremely careful.
Yeah. Well, and I think the weird thing right now is we don't know how socially to ask and how to, conduct like mask wearing and some of those like smaller but important measures. It's almost like it's like the Wild West of like this new normal where there aren't really rules. Like there are rules, but like there's not accepted like, yes, you wear your mask when doing this, like, you don't wear it with this and go in this door. I mean, there is like individual rules per place, but it's
right. But when you're meeting with your friends, like, do you wear a mask because they're wearing a mask? But if they're not wearing a mask, does that mean that they'll judge you if you wear a mask? And then are you supposed to care about that? Are you supposed to wear your mask? Like, yeah, I mean, you're right. Like the social structure of that is like just non-existent.
You're for sure. I mean, I've been going on these social distance walks with my friend just to get out of the house. And we always go by the same ice cream shop in our local town. And I'm the only one wearing a mask. And it's so bizarre. It's like I was there yesterday and it was like a couple of teenagers, like 15, 16, no mask. One had a shirt off. It was the guy. And first of all, douchey. Second of all, put on a damn mask.
Yeah.
So before we go, one more question and then we have a game. So I think this quarantine is the ultimate relationship test. How has that
We're
been?
the most iconic Columbia couple. I'm just going to say it. I think we've been dating since freshman year. Like, it was like November of our freshman year. I think we're a pretty iconic couple.
And yes, we are getting a divorce. If that was your question.
I was going to ask who, but not the divorce. That's fantastic. Well, before we go, there's a game that I love to do on this show and on the other show. It's called Time for Two. I think you guys know this if you listen to the other podcast. So who would like to go first?
Scott, go first.
I'll go first.
All right, Scott. 2 minutes on the clock. Bunch of icebreaker questions. There is no right or wrong answers. Are you ready?
Yes. Is that the right answer? I don't know.
You got the first answer right. No, I'm kidding. Yes. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. What is in your fridge right now?
Spanish wine for making. No, not jambalaya. What are you? The one with the fruit in it. The wine with the fruit in it. The wine with the fruit in it.
We'll take it. Do you have tattoos?
No, unfortunately not.
Describe your life using one word.
Mess.
What chore do you absolutely hate doing?
Taking out the garbage when it's full.
Yeah. What movie would be greatly improved if it was made into a musical?
Paddington doesn't need improved, but I think it would be great as a musical.
Love that movie. What is something you learned in the last week?
How to make roux. I just made like roux for like Cajun food stuff. So
nice.
Learn that.
Nice. Typical bedtime.
2 or 3.
Fruits or veggies?
Fruits.
Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Probably, yeah.
What did you have for breakfast?
Yogurt with honey, coffee, and orange juice.
Nice. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
What about magic?
No.
Can you beatbox?
Yes. Do I have to do it?
Yes. We're gonna stop the clock because that was beautiful, man. Oh, that was great. Okay, fine. 10 seconds. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Practically nothing.
There we go. That was the highlight of this entire podcast. Leo, are you ready?
Well, yeah.
All right, I have new questions. Don't you worry. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Is a DJ just someone who's good at iTunes?
No.
TV show you are binging right now?
The Office again for the millionth time.
Nice. What would be the coolest animal to scale up to the size of a horse?
Ant, not cool, just what I thought of.
Brendan or Brandon?
Oh, Brendan.
Deal or no deal?
Deal.
Left Twix or right Twix?
Left.
Are you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Kind of.
What is your name?
Leo.
What is your quest?
I want to be the very best that no one ever was.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
3.
Is the floor lava?
Always.
Did you suck your thumb as a child?
No.
Fruit salad or hot potato?
Fruit salad.
Emoji of choice?
The hard eyes.
Do you collect anything?
I collect bells from different states.
Ooh, I love that. Ron Burgundy or Ron Swanson?
Swanson.
Do you know how to tie a bow tie?
No.
Uncle Joey or Uncle Jesse?
Jesse.
Are we out of the woods yet?
Never.
What is your opinion of the show Friends?
Not good.
Ted Danson, your thoughts?
So hot. So beautiful. Would bang in a second.
And that's how we end it. Oh, that was some great questions ended on for both of you, beatboxing and Ted Danson. Oh, that was great. Well, Leo and Scott, I can't imagine about a couple I want to talk to right now during a pandemic. So thank you for taking some time and coming on the show. I so appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey everyone, thank you again for listening to this episode of You Have a Minute, a daily isolated podcast. My thanks to Scott Strom and Leo Batutis for coming on the show and taking some time to talk with me. I love them, and they are hashtag a couple goals. Like Scott said, he was my stage manager from when I was in Waiter at La Majestique, and Leo, I've been a fan of their work as a director and playwright ever since they came to Columbia. Yeah, awesome people, very awesome people, and I tip my hat off to both of them for graduating from school. It's awesome. So, 2 more episodes, and then that's it. It's going to be very exciting for the next 2 episodes of who is going to come on. And I'm so excited for you guys to meet them as well. So until then, wear a mask, wash your hands, stand 6 feet apart, play some Animal Crossing, damn it. Watch some Tiger King. No, don't. Watch Avatar, The Last Airbender. That is some good shit right there. And I will talk to you later.